Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back, or for the very first time, to the Farts and Craps Show, where today I'm going to be your host for this video, Dan Joe McCraps, and I'm going to be sharing my picks for the top deals on PSN and the Nintendo eShop right now in the period of basically the end of July. Some of these sales are going to be going on longer than others, so for each one, if there's a game you're interested in, I highly recommend checking the listing as soon as possible, and also some of these will vary depending on region, so yeah, it's going to vary quite a bit, but I'm going to share my picks with you guys because there are some amazing deals going on. I'm going to be starting on the PSN side. If there are PS4 Pro enhancements for some of the games I mentioned, I'm going to detail what those are as far as publicly available information you can find on the internet. And if there are caveats to my suggestions, I'm going to either quickly state them, but I'm going to do a deep dive on two of the games at the end of the video. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer one, and I will let you know when I'm going to do that transition at the end and really nitpick two of my suggestions. So let's go ahead and get right on to it. Alright, so the first suggestion, it's 75% off. It's Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. This is one of my top 10 favorite games of all time, and now you can pick it up for only $10 on PS4. This game is so good. It's the enhanced version of the game, native 1080p, 60 FPS, all the DLC included, New Game Plus cycles are rebalanced, and it's a fantastic game if you don't already have it, or yeah, it's just really good. If you haven't played it or you don't have it, pick it up. Second suggestion on the list is going to be Tales of Espiria Definitive Edition. This game is absolutely magical. As a disclaimer, I have not beaten it yet, but I have put at least 40 something hours into the game, and it is very, very good so far. This is the cheapest discount I have seen on this one at 70% off, only 15 bucks. I believe I picked it up when it was about 50, so 50% off, that is. So I think I paid about 25, but this one I believe is also on sale over on the eShop, but I can't really recommend the Switch version because it doesn't run at a steady 60 FPS. It's 60 frames per second sometimes, but 30 for a lot of the game, so I can't really recommend it unless the Switch is your primary console and you mainly play it in handheld mode. Still a good deal, but at this price point, for what is essentially the best way to play the game, I'd highly recommend this. And next, to showcase a genre I don't really talk about that much, fighting games. So I have 3 fighting games on this list that I want to mention because I think they are very good deals. First one with the largest discount being Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Fighter Z, or Fighters, depending on how you say it. I've heard a couple of different ways. This is the Ultimate Edition, essentially all the DLC, everything you could want for the game, usually bundled at $110, all the way down to $18. If you've been looking at this one and been maybe put off by the sheer amount of DLC that is available on PSN for it, here's a way to get it all bundled together for a very good deal. And speaking of getting all the stuff bundled together, we got Tekken 7 Ultimate Edition. Now this game is from its $60 price. No, that's $100. Yeah, that's $100. Down to $20. Now all of the content bundled together, the 2 fighter passes that have released so far, The only thing of note that is not included in this bundle is the Tekken bowling mode, which was basically recreated from the original Tekken Tag Tournament on the PlayStation 2. That is a $12 piece of DLC, but you can pick this up. It's $32 altogether, and essentially you're getting all the Tekken 7 content. So it's a very good one in my opinion. And the next one is more casual fans of fighting games, Soul Calibur 6. I say casual because that is the criticism I've heard about this one, is that it's essentially one of the easier fighting games from Namco. But at 75% off, this is unfortunately just the base game, discounting from 60 down to 15. So it doesn't include the any of the DLC, essentially, the extra fighters or modes, or I don't even know if there are DLC modes for this game, but 75% off is a pretty hefty discount, so if you've been on the fence about this one, this is the cheapest I've seen it. And back to my bread and butter genre, the JRPGs. We got Final Fantasy X/10-2 HD Remaster for only $12.50. I have seen this price point a couple times before, but they had a permanent price cut for the game. As you can see, regular price is only $25. $25 is actually the sale price over on the Nintendo eShop, because this is also available on the Switch. It's just normal price over there is $50. So it's either $25 on the Switch or $12.50 over on the PS4. I have heard the Switch version looks more like the PS3 version of Final Fantasy X and X-2, whereas the PS4 version is enhanced beyond the PS3 version. It's absolutely gorgeous. And no PS4 Pro patch on this one, although there is one for Tekken 7. I couldn't find much of any information on it. It basically just said improved frame rate, I guess. So, sorry there's not more information there, but that's about all I could find on the internet. So, the next one is the Kingdom Hearts All-in-One package. This was initially released as a promotional bundle before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. It is a lot of content, usually $100 price, 70% off down to $30 right now. And this is essentially all of the Kingdom Hearts games on PS4 in one package. So you're getting the Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 and 2.5 remix, which is Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 and Chain of Memories and Birth by Sleep, all final mix versions and all remastered. And there is a PS4 Pro patch for that, which claims 4K 60 FPS. I don't know if that means up to 60 FPS, but 4K 60 FPS on PS4 Pro, so that's pretty great. It also includes Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, which is up to 4K depending on title. I'm assuming 4K on Dream Drop Distance HD, which is included in that pack, as well as Kingdom Hearts 0.2 a fragmentary passage, Birth by Sleep, something like that. It has absolutely ludicrous title, but yeah, it has that, as well as there's a bunch of cinematic movies included in these collections as well as Kingdom Hearts 3. That is just the base game that's included in this package. As far as the listing goes, it doesn't indicate that it includes the recent DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3, so I'm assuming it doesn't, but I really don't think you're missing out too much by passing on that DLC, because it's essentially some post-game bosses, and that's basically it. So you're getting 6 Kingdom Hearts game, yeah, at 120 gigabytes, essentially. So make some room on your hard drive if you want to download this one, but if you want the complete collection, it's $30. I mean, that's a really good deal. The next one is Trials of Mana. This is on sale on both the Switch and the PS4 for actually the same price point. It's not a big discount, it's only 20% off, but this is a recent release, and this is the first time I've seen it go on sale. So saving any money is great on this one. I can't really recommend the Switch version because I've played both, and the Switch version does not run very well. There's like some added input latency, and the frame rate is kind of all over the place. I've been playing it on the PS4 Pro. I've been streaming it a lot, and this game is fantastic. You can get at least three unique playthroughs, 6 different main characters, and you basically pick your party at the beginning of the game. Unfortunately, they took away the co-op from the original Super Nintendo version, but because of the style of remake that it is, it very much makes sense. They could still have done online multiplayer, which would have been really great to see, but that would have, I don't know, I would have been great. They didn't do it, unfortunately, but as a single player game, I absolutely love this, and I bought it day one, but now you can get $10 off, so that's really good. The next one we got on the list is Final Fantasy IX Digital Edition. This is, I have some things to say about this one, but it's one of my favorite games of all time, which is why I'm so critical of it. But it's actually the same price on both the Switch and the PS4, and the good news there is the two versions are almost identical, and it's basically the definitive way to play the game. So that's really, really great news. The only reason I'm recommending this on PSN instead of the Switch is, for me, it feels weird to play this on a Nintendo platform because this was a PS1 classic. So it's purely for aesthetic reasons, I guess. But yeah, I have both versions. It's a fantastic game, and you can't go wrong with either one. The next one we got is actually 50% off Code Vein Deluxe Edition. Now this is usually $80, basically the base game and the season pass and some nice little extras, down to $40. So 50% off, huge deal. This was a day one purchase for me, but I also have some serious thoughts about this one. So wait till the end of the video after I talk about all the sales if you want to hear my full thoughts on that. Essentially, it's a fantastic game, fantastic deal, especially now, and then getting all the content for half off. It's a good deal. Alright, and speaking of Souls-like games, we got Dark Souls 3, which unfortunately this is just the base game. So DLC is not included, but it is 75% off. It's a little baffling to me. This is still $60 without the expansions. I feel like it's been 4 years. They should really have this be a greatest hits game and be the deluxe edition on the PS4. I mean, even at just like a price cut to like $30, include the DLC with it or something, you know. But you can pick up the base game for $15 now, so if for some reason you haven't played Dark Souls 3 yet and you're a PlayStation 4 player, this is a great time to pick it up. Now the next one is Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown. This game is so incredibly good. It's so incredibly good. If you've never played an Ace Combat game, this is also a fantastic place to start. It's also PS4 Pro Enhanced with improved frame rate. Again, not very much information there. Dark Souls 3, by the way, was also PS4 Pro Enhanced. Increased frame rate for gameplay on PS4 Pro up to 60 FPS. I would not count on 60 FPS at all. It's a variable frame rate. There are times when it looks almost 60, but for the most part, it's just enhanced, essentially. Yeah, so. But Ace Combat 7, this is also a PSVR game if you want to use your PSVR headset. If you don't, it's totally fine. In fact, I've heard the PSVR experience on this game is a little nauseating if you get motion sickness or that sort of thing very easily. But yeah, from the $60 price point down to $20, this is an amazing game. One of the prettiest games on PS4 Pro, in my opinion. Highly recommended. And the next one we got is also PS4 Pro Enhanced Abzu. Now this game is one of Jade's favorites, and it's half off right now from 20 down to 10. It is a shorter game. You can beat it in like 5 hours, but considering how atmospheric and gorgeous this game is, you might be coming back to it over and over and over again. This one is enhanced with a 2400 by 1350 resolution, essentially 1440p, 45 to 60 frames per second, and more rendered fish, which is kind of interesting. This one is also on sale on the eShop, I believe. If it's not on sale, it is available on the Switch. But yeah, if you really want the highest fidelity graphics experience on PS4 Pro, I definitely recommend this one for $10. It's such a good game. And the next one is Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. This one has been out for quite a while, about as long as Dark Souls 2 on the PS4. This was originally a Japan-only PSP game, which actually got a very, very good fan translation until they officially localized it and basically up-resed it, upscaled the game. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is one of the sleeper hits. Not a lot of people have played this one. In the past 5 years, less than 2,000 ratings. And it's not your typical Final Fantasy. It's more action-oriented. It's mission-based. It's a very long game. The story is phenomenal. You could easily get like 100 hours out of this game. And at $10, I think it's a no-brainer. Pick it up. Super good. And for a mention, I just wanted to do an honorable mention here before I get to the Switch games. For 3DS owners, you guys actually have some really good deals going on. I know Nintendo is very bad about talking about it. But yeah, so Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, 3 Ultimate, and Generations are all on sale right now. 4 Ultimate is only $9, down from $30, which is a fantastic deal. 3 Ultimate, I think, is $6, and Generations is about $15. If you are playing on the Switch, Generations Ultimate is on sale for $20, down from its $60 price point. And also on the 3DS, you got a bunch of Phoenix Wright games on sale, so that's pretty nifty as well. And on to my first one that feels weird to recommend. The Collection of Mana is the first 3. It's essentially the Seiken Densetsu trilogy. So the Game Boy original, the Super Nintendo original, and the third one, essentially, which is Trials of Mana. But this is the Super Nintendo original version of the game with localization. So they finally translated it for, I think I know it's all in English, but I think they also did a Spanish and French translation. I could be wrong. Check that information if you're in one of those countries that speaks a different language. I don't know how many languages they localized this into. But yeah, Square Enix finally did that, so that's great. Unfortunately for the first game, it is the Final Fantasy Adventures version, the original Game Boy. If you want to play the first game, the best version in my eyes is the Game Boy Advance version, which was known as Sword of Mana. There is also Adventures of Mana, which is also the same game, but completely different art style, has some graphical and performance issues. Can't really recommend that one. But yeah, the Collection of Mana. It's for the second and third game in the series. You got couch co-op, some very classic Super Nintendo gameplay going on there. At $40 at its normal price point, I think that's a little steep, but it's half off right now for $20. So if you're a fan of the series, or even just a fan of JRPGs that are more like action RPGs and especially cooperative, this is a good one. Unfortunately, Legend of Mana is not included in this game, but that was a PS1 game, so putting that on the Switch might have been difficult. And the next one we got is The Tourist, and this game is fantastic. It's only $6 off, but it's usually $20, now $14. I've been playing this one on my channel as well, and it's got voxel-based graphics, which if you're not sure what that is, Google it. I'm not going to take the time to explain it right now, and I'm not equipped to explain it right now, so but yeah, it's a fantastic game. Also pretty short if you know exactly what you're doing. You can speedrun this one in like 2 or 3 hours, but I've personally been playing it for about a dozen, and I'm still having a blast with it, so I would definitely recommend this one. Again, kind of like Abzu for the atmosphere. So, and the cheapest game on the list, Flashback, The Quest for Identity. For some reason they took off the subtitle, but this game initially came out back in 1993, I believe, at least on the Sega Genesis. Also came out on the Super Nintendo, which is what this version is based on, and the 3DO, and I think a few other platforms. I think Sega CD got a version as well. That's right, Sega CD did get a version, but they screwed that up. But they basically added weird cutscenes to it, the same as the 3DO version, but they were like kind of different cutscenes. It was strange. But yeah, if you want the definitive edition, if you want the definitive experience on Flashback, play the Genesis version. But again, if you're playing on the Switch, this is 90% off, $20 typically, which I think is pretty steep for essentially a Super Nintendo game. But at $1, this is an amazing game. I highly recommend this one. And next we have the Mega Man 0/ZX Legacy Collection. From what I've heard as far as emulation goes, this is one of, if not the best, Mega Man collections available right now. I guess Capcom kind of heard the fan feedback from the Mega Man X Legacy collections with the spotty to poor emulation quality. I personally have not played this one, but I've only heard fantastic things about it. I do own the original Mega Man Zero trilogy, and those games are amazing. I would highly recommend this one just for Mega Man Zero, 1, 2, and 3. So at $22.50, again, this one just came out a while back. This is the first time I've seen it go on sale on the eShop, so I'd highly recommend this one. And the next one, this one actually is not discounted right now, and I don't expect it to get discounted at any point because it's only $15. It's Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon 2. This is, in my opinion, the best Castlevania game since Aria of Sorrow on the Game Boy Advance back in 2006, I think, 2005. Yeah, Iga Vania it's a love letter to Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. This one's got co-op, at least 4 unique playthroughs. It's super good, and for $15, this is a fantastic deal. And if you're really good at the game, you could finish it kind of quickly. But it is very hard. It's harder than the other Bloodstained games. So you might find yourself at like 6 hours a playthrough ish. So if you put it that way, then you're getting at least 24 hours of gameplay just on the 4 playthroughs, and then they're adding other modes, like there is a boss rush and various other things. So yeah, highly recommend this one at 15 bucks. Such an amazingly well-made game from Inti Creates, I believe. And if you like this one, the original Bloodstained is also available on the Switch, and for you 3DS people that may still be watching, it's available on the 3DS as well. I don't think the sequel is, but the original Curse of the Moon is available on the 3DS. I know because I have it. So, alright, now for these games I'm going to talk about have PS4 Pro enhancements, essentially 1440p resolution, but they are available on the Switch and at 50% off. So for most of these, that's a fantastic deal. Spyro Reignited Trilogy looks great on the Switch. Again, lower resolution, but still for half off. These are really good games, and the frame rate isn't bad. So still, if you're a fan of these games, and if you want some PS1 nostalgia, I highly recommend these. Same things, essentially, I can say about the previous. I'll say here, Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy, the original trilogy, recreated. Toys for Bob did a great job with these games, and it's 50% off, from typical $40 price point down to $20. And for Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, this game is also PS4 Pro Enhanced, 1440p. And on the Switch, this one does not perform very well. Digital Foundry did a really deep dive, analyzing the various versions of the game. If you want the best experience, I believe they had some caveats as well. They didn't have a definitive answer, but the Switch version, definitely not good, especially in split screen multiplayer. If you're going to be playing this mostly in online multiplayer or single player, I think you're going to be fine. No worries there. It's not quite 50% off. Usual $40 price tag down to $24. It's still a fantastic game. So if the Switch is your primary platform, I'd highly recommend this one. And finally, for the last game in the list, Worms WMD. This is a callback essentially to Worms 2, Armageddon, World Party, those style of Worms games, the good ones. This is from a $30 price point down to $10. This one isn't quite as good as Worms World Party in my opinion, but that is not available outside of Steam and the Dreamcast and like those older platforms. So if you really want a Worms, like a classic Worms experience on the Switch, I'd highly recommend this one, especially at that much of a discount. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to end this part of the video. Those are all the sales I have to go over. I'm going to go into the nitpicks for Final Fantasy IX and Code Vein. So if you're interested in those two, stay tuned. But if you guys are taking off, be sure to hit the like and subscribe before you go. All that good stuff really helps the channel. We love you guys. Happy gaming. And on to the nitpicks. So I have Final Fantasy IX running right now. For those of you who guessed this was the Final Fantasy IX music, good job. Now the problem I have with this, the main problem, this is on the PS4, and you can see basic controls, they're showing D-pad inputs. That is because there is no analog option in this game. They have another option for walking or running as your default movement, and then essentially you hold cancel to speed up or slow down. That is hugely disappointing because this was one of the first Final Fantasy games to have full DualShock support. So essentially you could move the analog stick a little bit and you would just like barely move up to a full tilt to where you would be running. And you could move in 360 degrees. You have 8 directions in this version, which is really disappointing. Granted, it is kind of a nitpick because the game looks so good. They did so much right in this port, and they even fixed a lot of the stuff that was obviously not great about it initially. Like the menus at first, at launch, basically looked identical to the mobile version of the game, which was not good. But I'll pull up the update history here. So they adjusted the background music to resume where it left off when paused for battles or Tetramaster. They fixed an issue causing players to get stuck in the world map, and they fixed some other bugs. They did one patch, unfortunately. I have bothered Square Enix about this on Twitter because the actual developers that were in charge of the port, which was Guild Studios Incorporated, I guess they don't have a Twitter presence, so I couldn't bother them. But yeah, I tweeted at the official Final Fantasy Twitter account and the Square Enix Twitter account, and I don't know. They didn't reply yet, but we'll see if anything comes of that. And considering this year was recently was the 20th anniversary of Final Fantasy IX, I really hope we either get a second revision to the game as like a proper remaster, because there are some issues I have with this game. Namely, the frame rate on the world map isn't great. The music issues that I mentioned, the UI issues that I mentioned, and there aren't really that many like new things. You know, there's like added hacks, which is, some of them are very useful, and then there's the permanent hacks like level magic stone max, maximum amount of money, you can master all the abilities. The ones you can turn on and off would be battle assistance, doing max damage, high speed mode, which makes the game really fast, and safe travel mode, which basically turns off random encounters. So yeah, if you want to go through the game and just get a lot of grinding done, high speed mode is definitely nice to have. Or if you just want to get that Excalibur too. And the other thing I wanted to point out about Code Vein, this is, I never picked up the season pass because at launch they didn't really have very many reasons to get the season pass, and they never really added a ton. I might eventually pick it up, I don't know, but as you can see, they've updated the game so many times, and these are significant updates. It's not just like improved performance and stability, general improvement to performance and stability, bugs and issues. That's like the generic one you see all the time. Fixed a number of bugs and issues. But they added tons of features. They added like UI changes, they added changes so you can basically silence your NPC partners. They added a bunch of little like customization things. They added a full photo mode. It's just way too much stuff to go through right now. But if you want to pause the video at different points, I'm just gonna like slowly kind of go up the list, and it's essentially a completely different game now. They've enhanced so many things, and I cannot wait to play through this game again. I'm going to be doing that as a full series at some point, and like the most recent one, 1.53, that was actually pretty recent, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. But yeah, the game runs pretty much at a solid 60 on PS4 Pro at 1080p. It's absolutely gorgeous, a joy to play, honestly. And yeah, it was made by the talented guys over at Shift, who you may remember from such awesome titles as God Eater, and God Eater. They are amazing. Their games are so good. And if you've never played the God Eater games, I know I mentioned Monster Hunter earlier. It's essentially anime Monster Hunter, and all three of the games are worth playing 100%. So thank you guys for being here. Hope you all have a beautiful day. Many blessings on your journey, and if you have any other questions, put them in the comment section. If I didn't mention some games that you see that are on sale, go ahead and put those as well down there. And because I get to every single comment. If I don't respond to yours, I'm sorry, I'm just busy with a lot of things, but I do see every comment that comes into the channel. So I hope you have a beautiful day, and I already said that, so until then, happy gaming.